Hello and welcome to the show. Now, investing in property is not without risk. However, get it right and it can be a nice little money maker.
Yeah, to minimise those risks and increase the chance of success, make sure you do your research.
So if it's time to dip your toe in the water, why not head down to your local property auction? Experienced investors know that property auctions can be a really happy hunting ground.
Yes, and hopefully that's something that the newbies and the novices will learn very soon.
Let's see what today's buyers got their hands on.
This modest plot in Hornsey has a decidedly immodest £245,000 guide price.
Only in London, eh?
While I'm looking to spend a penny on new flooring at this two-bed semi in Cumbria. What's never a good idea when you have a toilet is to have carpet surrounding it. And Dion's right on the money with his assessment of this two-bed terrace in Greater Manchester.
You wouldn't have to be a plasterer to get this kind of effect.
All these properties have been sold at auction, and we'll find out who bought them and what they paid for them when they went under the hammer. To North London now, where the district of Wood Green has traditionally been a hive of industry, manufacturing such diverse products as tobacco, pianos and confectionery. But that's not its only claim to fame. There was once a bus depot here, used by London Weekend Television as the set for the classic 1970s sitcom On the Buses. And the property Dion's off to see is just a bus ride to the south, in the suburb of Hornsey.
But I'm not here to see a flat, or a house, or even a bungalow. Right, we're in London. The lot I'm here to see was incredibly pricey. £245,000. That was the guide price. And the lot I'm here to see is that.
Did you really mean it when you said the things that you said?
Yes, he really did just say £245,000 guide price for this modest bit of grassland.
Now, one of the reasons why the guide price for this plot of land is so expensive is because it comes with planning permission for a three-bed detached property that has a garden and off-street parking. That is a huge bonus. It's kind of half the work done for you. It is quite tight, and it is quite pricey.
But that all-important planning permission elevates this ordinary piece of turf into something special, and there might be some more good news to tell you about.
One good thing about building from scratch is that you don't pay any VAT on your building materials. That could save you a few quid.
Well, potentially that's good news to help save you some cash. Unfortunately here, it could be a case of giving with one hand and taking with the other.
We are in London, so obviously there's going to be some more financial red tape you have to get through. Something called Community Infrastructure Levy. It's basically an extra charge judged on the size of the floor space that you're trying to create on your new build. Only in London, eh?
Yes, and the levy for this proposed three-bed detached would be around £24,000. Plus, there would also be £5,000 in fees due to the Mayor of London's office for land usage. So, quite significant costs to add on to this already pricey plot that was guided at £245,000. But could it all be worth it? What does a local estate agent make of the proposal for this site?
I think the plans are really good. I think it will suit a house being at this end, seeing as it's a road full of other houses. They could also consider putting flats here as well, as there is a high demand for flats in the area.
Flats could be an option, but that would require going back to the planners, which would significantly delay the process and have no guarantee of success. So let's stick with what we've got, shall we? And look at those numbers for a 3-bed detached in this area.
I would value this property once built at between £925,000 and £950,000.
Wow, so even with build costs bought at the right price, there could be a decent profit here. But what about its rental potential?
You'll be looking at achieving between £2,000 and £2,500 per calendar month.
Plots of land are a rare commodity in London, especially the ones that come with planning permission already in place. Let's find out who wanted to put a property on this plot when he went under the hammer.
Selling for a housing association here. 2,142 square feet of land, planning consent for a 3-bed, 5-person detached house. What do you want to say, 230? 230, lady here. 35. 35 at the back standing, gentleman's bid. 40. 40 with the lady. 45, sir. 45, 50. 50 here, 55. 55 and 60. 60, 65, 65, 70. 75, 75, 80. 280, 85.
Well, that £245,000 guide price was left well behind. We rejoin with bids now at £400,000.
400,000 at 5. And 5, 10, 15. 415, 420, sir. 420, 25. 420 here, Hornsey. First time at 420. Second time at 420. At £420,000. Nobody else. Lot 6.
So the hammer finally went down at £420,000. And out of sight of the camera, the successful bid was by Imran, who bought the plot on behalf of the London Islamic Cultural Society. He came along with his sister Bibi to fill Dion in on the plan.
Imran and Bibi, nice to meet you.
Lovely
Nice to meet you.
You got lucky because you got what you wanted,
Yes, indeed, yes, indeed.
but cost you a few quid.
Cost us a few quid for a piece of grass, yeah.
Yes. what made you stick at it, and what made you really want it?
The site, the location, obviously near to our existing building.
Which
and-
is?
Which is the mosque, which is right behind you.
Okay.
The most important thing is that 32 years ago, my father, he was the leader of our community, and we came from Guyana in South America. Went to an auction, bid for a synagogue that was to become the home of our mosque. And 32 years later, his son went along to an auction, bid for the land, and then, by the grace of God, we got it.
It's meant to be then, yeah?
Yes.
It's meant to be.
Well, it seems that there may have been a little bit of fate involved in this purchase. So what do Bibi and Imran have in mind for this little plot of land?
We bought this because it has planning permission to build a 3-bedroom detached house, but also because it will be a great income stream for the mosque.
Okay, so is that what you're building, the house here?
We're building the house, but we will be looking at changes, and we're looking into that at the moment. But it will be residential, and it will be a home here.
What's next?
We have, first of all, some discussions about what it is exactly that we want to erect on this site. At its minimum, we have the 3-bedroom house that we're going to put here, with parking facilities as well.
Bibi, Imran and their colleagues and donors had originally considered the idea of a bespoke building containing perhaps some specialist accommodation tailored to benefit members of the mosque. But that would have been a more complex and costly proposition. They're mindful of the need to set aside around £29,000 for those extra fees involved in a London new build on a plot of land this size, as well as the bills they'll incur for getting the utilities connected. And then, of course, there are the costs of the actual construction. So it looks like the 3-bed house that already has plans approved will win the day. And once built, they'll either sell it on or rent it out to provide a return for the mosque.
Well, we've budgeted for the maximum, say, 250.
250.
But we've got some wonderful supporters who may help us with discounts.
Okay, so what about the timescale then? How long is it going to take to erect this 3-bed house? Do we know?
3 months.
3 months?
3 months.
We have a very speedy builder
Yes,
who
yes.
is actually really good, and we have a lot of trust in him, and he has the heart of our community as well as another brother that would give us some really good help as well too in terms of engineers and even materials.
So, you know, we have a good set of advisors around us, architects, people who are in this business of, you know, buying and selling properties, building properties. So we've got a lot of experience around us. So where maybe I'm lacking in experience, we have people who will help us with that.
I think what you need to look at is that it's a community building. It's not just a house. It's a community, and the people who come to our mosque, they believe in things like what we're doing. It's another progress.
Listen, I just want to say good luck. I hope you get exactly what you want here. And I know you're not doing it just for the mosque, not doing it for yourselves, you're doing it for the whole of the community to get involved as well.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Thank you
Good on
so
you.
much.
Good on
Thank
you.
you
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Imran and Bibi aren't buying this for themselves. They're buying it to go alongside the mosque. You'll find out what they achieve later in the programme.
Back now to North London and Hornsey, and a rather uninspiring parcel of land, which was guided at, well, you'd anticipate, maybe 50, 60,000? It was London, so maybe 100 grand tops. No, you're miles out. It was guided at £245,000. But of course, it wasn't just the lush green grass you got here.
It comes with planning permission for a 3-bed detached property that has a garden and off-street parking. That is a huge bonus.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Yes, and that huge bonus was one of the reasons, but not the only one, why Imran bought it for £420,000 on behalf of the London Islamic Cultural Society, as he and his sister Bibi came along to explain to Dion.
And what made you really want it?
The site, the location, obviously near to our existing building.
Which is?
Which is the mosque, which is right behind you.
The most important thing is that 32 years ago, my father, he was the leader of our community and went to an auction, bid for a synagogue that was to become the home of our mosque. And 32 years later, his son went along to an auction, bid for the land, and then we got it.
So Imran was following in his father's footsteps, but instead of building a mosque, they would be building a 3-bed detached house that had been approved by the planners, with perhaps some special touches of their own. And with a budget of £250,000, they hoped it could be built in as little as 3 months. But now, 13 months later, we're back to catch up on the story. Wow, what a building that has sprung up here. From grass to glass and bricks, it certainly looks mighty fine.
Lift me up, won't you give me the strength I need? Won't you bring me home?
So let's see what kind of home we've got here, shall we? Starting on the top floor, I think. And that consists of 2 bedrooms and a shower room. On the first floor, instead of the original plan of a bedroom and a lounge, they've decided to alter the plan slightly and have 2 bedrooms here, making the house a 4-bed detached. This floor also has the bonus of a bathroom. And the ground floor will now be an open-plan kitchen, diner, cum lounge. And there will be some nice added features to appeal to any family who might want to move in here, as Bibi explains.
So this ground floor is my favourite part. There's going to be the kitchen around there, and this will be a seating area. But the beauty of this is going to have underfloor heating. And there's easy access as well to the garden. And I think this room is going to be really used by the family and amazing.
And Bibi hopes it will be fully completed and amazing in just a few more weeks. So from the initial purchase of the land through to the individual tradespeople involved in the build, this venture has come into being through the collective efforts of the members of the nearby mosque, built by Bibi and Imran's father. And the house will now generate income to help with the running of the mosque.
This is solely for our community. We're self-financing. So it's what the people do. The people who come have established our mosque. And we then need to protect that mosque by generating a regular income.
And so this building, either by being sold or rented out, will be one of those income generators, allowing them to fund youth projects, mental health awareness initiatives, and many other important and much-needed community support schemes. And it was a support role that Bibi also found herself involved in here.
So myself and Imran have been part of this. Imran was asked to buy the land on behalf of our trustees. Since then, we've been on site, we've looked at the plans, we consult regularly with our project manager and with the builder, whose name is Emily. But he's so reliable and he's so dedicated and he treats it like his home. So we've not had to sit on him at all.
And he's been pretty speedy as well, because despite it being 13 months since we first saw the site, this build actually only started 4.5 months ago, so it is impressive to get to this stage so quickly. So he's a speedy builder, but is he a pricey one? How's that £250,000 budget looking?
We haven't gone over that quota yet. We've got about 25,000 to play with, and that will go towards connecting services like water, gas, electric. So we think that we will be within budget. And I think if I twist Emma's hand, we might get it a bit less.
So a £250,000 spend on top of a £420,000 purchase price with an additional £5,000 in auction fees. But what about those additional levies and fees imposed on new builds in London? Well, it turns out that as a registered charity, the Society was in fact exempt from paying any of those. They've yet to find out how much they will need to pay for having the utilities connected. But so far, that's at least £675,000 they've invested here. But will this 4-bed detached house be a good income generator?
It's amazing. It's strange to see it from before being just a plot of land to now being a big 3-storey detached house. I think 4 bedrooms was a really good choice. There's not a lot of 4-bedroom properties in this side of Hornsey, so to have a 4-bedroom detached townhouse, I think the demand will be high for that as well.
Currently, they're not sure whether to sell or rent. Maybe the numbers for their £675,000 investment will help focus the mind.
I think for resale value, this property would sell for £950,000.
The valuation of the property is amazing. It's really amazing, and it's going to be so beneficial to us.
That figure could generate a pre-tax capital of £275,000 minus that bill still to come in for the connection of utilities. And then there will be the long-term return for rental.
I think for rental, this property could rent for between £3,000 and £3,500 per calendar month.
That valuation is really, really good for us as well. So it gives us a little bit of scope to decide, do you want to keep it or do you want to sell it? And when you look at it, your heart's actually attached to it. But the valuation and the rental are really great positive things for us.
Well, whichever option they do choose, it seems they will have some additional funding for further projects, which is great. But with Bibi's father setting up the mosque in the first place, for her, this is also a part of a legacy project to make sure the mosque is financially secure for many years to come.
When you looked at the piece of land, you didn't think that you could build such a beautiful home. But now, seeing it and the valuations that we've been told, it makes it all perfect, and he would be absolutely, absolutely... I could see him smiling.